Hey, hello everybody. How's it going, guys? Sean, how are the games? Looked a little painful at the end there.
I would say just the last like 20 minutes of the game.
Okay.
Like I'm I'm a little unusual in that I like really like pain in games because
Okay.
like the thing that hurts is what lets me know when things are going wrong.
Yeah.
And most of the time it's like a hot stove. It's like, "Oh, I shouldn't do that." But you gave me a shitload of information during the coaching session,
Yeah.
and so I felt pretty like I would describe disoriented as the
Yeah.
experience
Yeah.
because I kept trying to in the game stop and go, okay, so he's doing physical, but is it better if I try to prevent the duel from happening or to fight against the damage? So I can I talk a little bit about all the places where I'm
Yeah.
confused?
Go ahead.
Can we just make this the Sean's confused show?
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely. I'm gonna
so
fix you too. Your shape is a little large. Ooh, 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 ooh.
oh
Optical.
shit. No, I'm in front. I'm in front. Look. You need to. Oh, there he is. No, pull me
No,
behind.
it's
Yeah.
too long is the problem, I think.
There
It's
he
your
is.
see. Look, wait. Here, see, like, uh, if
Yeah.
I don't know. Whatever.
Okay, that's
It's a little
cool.
sloppy. Whatever. Continue.
Whatever.
So what confused you? I mean, it seemed like it was obviously it's a ton of information. I saw how tired you seemed after the Spirit Breaker game. At the end, you were like, I just feel a little overwhelmed, and you didn't even say much. It just seemed like there was
Well,
so
okay.
much stuff that your brain was just like tired. That's what it seemed like.
Okay, so one of the things is that I forgot to open the window, so I have huge bright lights, and I accidentally left the heater on. So it's like 90 degrees in here. So I'm like, like trying to play and sweating. I'm like charging people, like trying
Dude,
to ram into them, like trying
good
to
thing
make
you were
soft
wearing
land.
a white shirt.
Yeah, I
You know,
know. No, I
just
mean like you can still
maximum.
probably
No, you
see.
look
Like,
fine, dude. I even saw
all
comments.
right,
People were like, "Dude, that's the whitest shirt I've ever seen."
I know it looks like I'm wearing a laser.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess just today in general I'm tired. But like the big thing was that I feel like there are skills that I have that are transferable from StarCraft,
Yeah.
but I never do big scale strategic planning in a game of StarCraft. That's like all done pre-game and between games and through
Okay.
practice. So like for me, I felt like I was we did all the examples with Viper, and then I like hopped into the Spirit Breaker game, and then I was like in the game trying to figure out and trying to debate and trying to remember what items I'm not thinking about and stuff. And trying to do all that processing was totally disorienting for me.
Yeah.
I felt okay about the Spirit Breaker game, honestly,
Yeah.
except for the start, where I just, again, this is what I meant when I'm like, as melee heroes, I'm a little over eager in the laning phase. But then the Nyx game, I felt okay with like the first 20 minutes, but then it was like after that that I was,
That's kind of what it looked like to me as well. I
yeah,
think if you would have played Viper instead, that you would have felt very comfortable with the hero. Because, like, I know you've
yeah,
played Spirit Breaker before, but you don't play him all the time. So if you had actually played Viper there, you might have been more able to play your regular game and get used to the other stuff that you need to encounter. And that's
I definitely
maybe,
think so. Yeah,
I mean, if you play StarCraft and you only play one race and then you switch to another one, everything gets weird. Even if you know what you should be doing, you're just not used to it. So then a lot of
yeah,
your brain power just goes to getting used to the new race. Or it could be something like if your monitor changes size, or if like you're lagging a little bit more than usual. All of a sudden your brain doesn't, it puts extra work into just trying to understand what you're seeing. So sometimes just playing new heroes already just decks you and hurts your ability to play correctly.
I'm
So
actually curious if anyone in chat has this feeling, but like when I'm playing and I'm in a calm state of mind, well, maybe not calm, but like I feel like I have extra brain space. I feel like I can see the whole screen and I can see the mini map and I'm aware of my money and aware of all my cooldowns.
mhm.
And if I have too much in my head, like this used to happen to me with StarCraft when I would like try a brand new strategy or when I'm trying a new hero, it feels like I see less.
Yeah.
I actually feel like I can see less of the screen.
Absolutely. I'm sure that's a real thing. I mean, I've had some Dota games sometimes where I'll be playing a game and I won't even remember looking if I had Ravage up, but I'll just know that it wasn't on cooldown. I'll be like, oh man, we lost that fight. And then I'm like, wait, did I have Ravage? Because my Ravage had come off cooldown since I
Yeah,
died.
yeah.
And I just didn't know. But almost every time I go back and check, it's like, oh, I actually had Ravage. I didn't have Ravage. I didn't make a mistake. It's just, you get so used to that kind of stuff. So playing Dota a lot definitely helps with things like that.
Yeah, yeah.
But it definitely doesn't help to do like an hour and a half of like math and game theory stuff right before you play. I'm sure that made it a little bit harder than usual. So We can take a look at some clips. So we can start off
That'd be awesome.
with the Spirit Breaker laning stage 1. Let's hop over here. Any day XSplit. Okay, cool. So this is basically what you started with, right? I'm gonna press the play button because I am unprofessional. So you're in a dual lane.
Yeah.
You're against a Witch Doctor and a Luna. You got an Earthshaker and a Spirit Breaker. Who do you feel like has the better dual lane?
I feel like we have a better dual lane because we just have higher health.
Okay.
We are tankier and all that good stuff.
Okay. What about your ability to harass, considering you're against 2 ranged heroes?
That was what I was trying to go in for because I felt like in theory I should be able to do better than they together.
Because
this is just a complete misevaluation.
Yeah, absolutely. You basically said we'll beat them because we're together. It was my impression of what you said. Like, you have more HP, yes, but you're not talking about your trade potential. You're not talking about how good your level 1 skills are. I mean, in terms of trading without skills, absolutely, you guys are way stronger. But once you put skills in the equation, everything changes. Witch Doctor is an amazing level 1 hero, 60 damage. He's got 1 armor, so not very good. His base HP is okay, not the worst, and he bought a lot of stats. And he has a great stun that does damage. Luna has an aura that gives 14 base damage to both of them. So already off the bat, they already have way more right click than you guys. Witch Doctor here is hitting for 74.
That was an ability of hers. Hold on one sec. I'm actually going to open Luna as you are talking.
Go for it. So with those 2 ranged heroes and this aura for damage bonus, they actually have a much better dual lane than you guys.
Jesus, I did not know about the Lunar Blessing aura.
So that offsets basically most of your Stout Shield. Because your Stout Shield blocks on average 8 damage.
Yeah.
If it does proc, it blocks 16. So if it procs and they have Lunar Blessing, it's really only blocking... The Lunar Blessing fully counters it and gives her 2 more damage. So it's like Stout Shield is basically non-existent in this lane, based on the Luna aura. And then once they hit 2, they're way stronger than you guys, relatively.
And is it I assume it's still correct for me to get the Stout Shield?
Yeah, you should still buy Stout. You kind of have to. But this is not an easy lane by any means. You have to think about how your skills now will trade against them. How do you like level 1 charge when you're level 1? How does that feel as an ability?
As you asked that, I think maybe I should just get level 1 dash.
Sometimes yes. And a dual lane like this, I could see it as a benefit maybe. It's a little bit iffy either way. Pretty much it sucks no matter what happens. And that's because if you have level 1 charge, all it does is stun for 1.2 seconds. That's it. Yeah. It doesn't do any damage. If you have bash and you get lucky on a bash, you get some bonus damage and some movement speed and some trade advantage. So you guys are tankier, but not only is your hero worse at level 1, but so is Earthshaker, because literally all he has is Fissure. And his base hero isn't very strong. He doesn't have very much armor. He's got HP. That part's cool. But if he casts 1 Fissure, he's lost like 2/3 of his mana pool anyways. So it's like the only way that you guys would beat this, ideally, is if you get up in their face and you're constantly hitting the Witch Doctor. And another thing is actually, they had way less regen than you guys. You had 2 sets of regen. Your Earthshaker 2 sets of regen. Both of them had 1 set of tangos each. Did you even click on this game?
I'm trying to remember if I did. There, like when you first asked the question, like, oh yeah, we have more health. I just also in there, I for some reason thought that we just had way better regen than they did. Okay. I thought that we would just have more health. I think I may have literally just assumed that for some reason.
Okay, it's possible. You may have checked. I'm not sure. Look at this like little aggressive movement that the Luna was doing. These are kind of like some of the trade moments where you need to take an advantage that you did not. So if he's past the creep wave here and he right clicks you, he's aggroing creeps. So what you should be doing in these moments is hitting him, because if you hit him and he hits you, you should be trading around evenly, and you have creeps hitting him, and you have a Stout Shield. So you should be doing more damage to him. And your Earthshaker should also walk forward and slap this guy, and then you have 2 heroes hitting this guy when only 1 is hitting you back. You guys have 3 advantages here. You have creeps hitting Luna, you have 2 heroes hitting Luna, and both of you guys just ran away.
Tight.
Like, this guy's actually bullying you. It's crazy that this worked. And then finally you guys use your skills on him, and it's like, oh shit, he actually dies really fast. Alright, you want me to answer how Maledict works now?
Yes, I would love that.
Okay, so it does base damage over time between 60 and 40, 16 and 40, I believe. And the way that it works is once it's cast on somebody, it basically sets a health point that it remembers, and if your HP becomes lower than that point, does like 4 chunks of damage where it says, oh, you've lost 200 HP since Maledict has applied on you. Well, now we're gonna do 16% of 200, and then another like 4 seconds pass and it says, oh, now you're 300 HP below where I set the value at. Now we're gonna do 16% of that. So basically, it's like a spell amplifier. It's a damage amplifier. It's not like it is in the math equation, but it does this like calculation based on how much damage you do.
Okay, so just to make sure I understand that, like assuming I'm at 1,000 health,
Yes.
if Maledict is cast and then I just walk away, I'll receive no damage at any point.
You're gonna take 16 damage per second for like 10 seconds or something.
Is 16 the minimum? Wait, what?
That's level 1, yeah. But basically, the percentage it does based on how much you've lost goes up with levels, and the damage over time, I believe, also goes up. So because he Maledicted you and then right-clicked you like 3 times, it meant that you were going to take more damage from Maledict. So if you ever get Maledicted and lose half of your HP, you need to pop a BKB or pop your hood or get back to Fountain because you're about to take a shitload of damage if he has a lot of points into it.
Yeah.
So that was part of what was wrecking you. So the other issue basically is that Earthshaker just sucks in lane. So you basically took 2 heroes that are tanky but both kind of need level 2 really bad. At least you did. You really needed level 2. And then you just sit there. And that's kind of what you guys did. You just sat there and kind of tried to last hit, but they harassed you more. What you should have done instead was Earthshaker should have moved to the side jungle, maybe giving you solo experience sometimes. That way you could get a fast level 2. And then you guys should just try to kill the Witch Doctor. And ideally, if you are trading with them, it would be with either of them solo away from creeps. Would generally be better. But because you have a Stout Shield, it's okay for you to trade with them the creep wave as well. That's what you guys should have done to abuse your lane a bit more. Because abusing Witch Doctor should have been done. He's got very low armor. You know, his right click is good, and his disable can be good. But you guys could have bullied him way harder. And now you're still not level 2, and these guys are level 2. So now you've got a Lucent Beam to deal with. He's got Maledict and Cask. It's just like a mix of all of these issues that made this laning stage so hard. So this is basically a 2K, we're going to do lane no matter what problem right here. If you were by yourself, you would have done way better because you would have had more levels, and you probably just would have traded better with the Witch Doctor.
Yeah, I incidentally have played almost all of my Spirit Breaker games in stacks with friends. Okay. I think this is the first game where I'm Spirit Breaker where I was not almost exclusively solo laning.
And how did it feel in terms of difference?
I just felt way weaker and like I had less things. I think I even said that in the game, like, Jesus, I am not used to being this low level.
Yeah, it makes a huge impact. If you guys aren't better at laning than they are, they're going to get advantages against you, especially when they have range advantage. Like, at playing like tanky melee offlaners, the only way it works really well, usually, is if the 2 of you work as a unit and both try to bully the same guy, or if you have really good skills that are effective early, like Spirit Breaker with Darkseer. Put Iron Shell on Spirit Breaker, it doesn't matter that he doesn't do damage with this charge. Oops, it already jumped to the next play. Which is fine. So the laning stage was basically just tough because you were with an Earthshaker and because you guys didn't really do anything. Another thing Earthshaker could have done, get to the side jungle and just block somebody off. That way, it's like me versus Luna, there's a fissure behind him, and Witch Doctor's behind that. You could just fight him one-on-one and get some advantage there. So something about this clip, I think you used Urn a lot, which was good, but you misused it quite a bit. For example, as you start your gank, you should be using Urn immediately. Like, you used it now.
Can I use Urn as I'm charging?
I am not sure about that one. I would be scared. I would test it. Feel free to test it in a lobby, but I've never tried it before for obvious reasons. It's one of those things where you're like, I'm too scared to try, so I literally will never find out. So might want to try it. But as you initiate the gank, as soon as you complete your charge and you hit him with your stun and start right-clicking, throw the Urn out just for the damage. Because by the time that it's 10 seconds later, you will have finished your damage because it could make a difference.
Yeah.
That's assuming you know that you're going to be able to get a kill. So those kinds of things are really important. I wanted to talk about your Bracer.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, this was the big questions that I had at the start of the game, and this will lead into the Bracer, is that most of the time, the items that I just get with Spirit Breaker, I should actually say before this series began, the items that I would just get with Spirit Breaker would be the Stout Shield to regen. I would always get the Wand. I would get an Orb of Venom at some point. I would get the Urn. And I've been trying to also get a Bracer, especially if I'm doing okay at the start of the game, because I just feel the bump in health and power when I do charge-ins.
Okay. How much value does a Bracer give you?
So the Bracer will... I mean, it's the Wraith Band of Strength.
Yep.
So it's the 9 plus 3 plus 3.
Give me the numbers.
Okay, so it's plus 9, so it's plus 120 health, plus 9 damage, 10 teensy bit of armor because it's +3 agility, like half a point of armor, and then some small amount of mana, which is not really that relevant for Spirit Breaker because he doesn't use a ton.
So the mana is pretty irrelevant. The attack speed and armor it gives you is fairly irrelevant. Would you say the damage it gives you is relevant?
For me,
I would agree.
It's not.
I would certainly say
Yeah, I mean, I don't feel that it's irrelevant, but I mean, the big thing is that when I feel like I'm charging into people, I feel like I just have a lot more health and I'm dealing a little bit of extra damage per thing.
I would argue the damage is semi-irrelevant based on the way that you do damage as a hero, which is through getting bashes, which happens as you charge, and by ulting, which gives you another bash. Do you know what type of damage Spirit Breaker does?
I have absolutely no idea, but given my usual paradigms, dude, let me tell you, it's all magical.
You're right. It's literally all magic. All of it is magic. The bash damage is magic. Your ulti is magic, and it guarantees another bash. You do only magic damage, which means that increasing your damage by 9 doesn't really matter. The only damage you can do, Spirit Breaker does almost all of his damage by bashing, basically just bashing and ulting, and Urn, I guess. So, in my opinion, giving yourself 9 more damage for 500 gold is kind of irrelevant, in my opinion. So really what we're talking about for the Bracer is, what you want it for is HP. That is fair. Spirit Breaker needs some HP because he's going to get into some shit. Yeah. But maybe there was something else you could buy instead that would be better. So what kind of damage do your opponents have this game?
I felt like it was a largely... Oh, what kind of damage do they have?
Yes.
Okay, so...
Maledict does magic for the record.
For me, I don't know if this is... Like, I actually debated about this a lot during the show. That I felt like the magic damage was the biggest threat.
Okay.
So that's why I went for a BKB. From Luna, and I also wanted to avoid Meepo's Snare, and also Witch Doctor does a ton with his... Put his hands above and shake them violently as pink flies at you spell.
That does physical, though. And it's an attack from a ward.
Shit.
Yes.
Holy shit. Okay, so in that case, I would say, although there's bursts of magical damage from Luna, Axe is dealing physical, and pure Meepo's dealing physical.
Okay, good. You got pure. The spin is pure.
Yeah, I was going to say Luna can deal physical, but I am most scared of the magic with Luna. Yeah. I don't know if that's incorrect, but Axe is mostly physical. Meepo's definitely mostly physical, and
Axe is mostly pure, for the record, and sometimes magic. His right click is like a very small part of his damage output. Every spin is pure. The ulti chop does magic, but usually it kills you. The second skill does magic. So by getting a Bracer, basically my summation is that Witch Doctor is fairly heavy magic because of Maledict. Earth Spirit is entirely magic. Luna is mostly magic. Meepo, when he poofs, is magic. When he right clicks, it's physical. I don't remember which damage Geostrike does. There's a shitload of magic. What if instead of buying a Bracer for 505 gold or however much it is, you bought a cloak for 550?
I will look at cloak now. Oh, there's just plus 15% spell resistance. Huh.
And something else you could do that's kind of fun. I don't remember if you can disassemble Glimmer Cape anymore, but you're going to make a Shadow Blade anyways. If you can disassemble the item, you can buy Cloak, buy the Shadow Amulet to make a Glimmer Cape, which increases your attack speed and gives you magic resistance and lets you go invis for 5 seconds.
I can disassemble Glimmer Cape. Holy shit.
And then you can disassemble it when you're ready to make Shadow Blade, and then you just got a Cloak in your inventory.
Huh.
So it gives you what Bracer does, but it makes your curve a little bit better by giving you a utility item between that like Bracer half of Shadow Blade part. You'd have an item that has utility, and then afterwards you still have magic resistance. So like even if you get eclipsed, you can take 15% more damage from it. Or if you get maledicted, the damage is reduced. That would be better than a Bracer in my opinion, because that Bracer's not going anywhere. You're never going to upgrade it. It just sits there. Takes an item slot. It's kind of expensive for what it gives because all of the things that it gives aren't what you need. You don't really need the damage. You don't need the mana.
So let's say we're up against something like just a bunch of physical damage. Should I be instead just going for like a +5 armor item instead, or does Bracer seem fine then as well?
I wouldn't just I wouldn't just buy a chainmail to hold it. Cloaks generally are better for that just because magic is so specific that if they have a lot of magic, you're like, hey, I need to buy some magic resistance, and you do. But against physical, you can buy there's more items that have armor value that allow you to build into something. So for example, you could buy maybe a blade mail, perhaps could work hypothetically. Maybe something like a medallion. I don't know if there's basically in most cases I just wouldn't worry about the armor because your base armor is so high and because you have a lot of HP. I'd say you're kind of set already. I'm sure there's something that you could get. You could buy like an armlet if you really wanted to, but again, your physical right click is not that important. So I would still just kind of go standard items personally. I think that would be more than fine.
So, I mean, truthfully, the main reason that I bought the bracer is that I just watched a game of someone who bought a bracer.
Okay.
And I just started to do it, and it felt nice.
Okay. And it
before
does,
and after the bracer.
Pros do that sometimes. They will just buy a casual bracer sometimes because of a lot of the same reasons that you said, which was I just wanted a little bit more of an HP spike. And it's definitely justified sometimes. But I want you to also keep in mind the value of it, because if your bracer gets used for 5 minutes and you sell it later, you've lost half the gold, and maybe it kept you alive, but maybe there was a better purchase. Maybe you could have gotten Shadowblade 500 gold earlier, and that would have made a bigger difference in the game. So figuring out how to like min-max your transitions is really important. So it was definitely the one thing about your item build that I wanted to criticize and talk about.
Also, there were things that you mentioned when we were looking at Viper, like, oh, you're against Lone Druid, so you don't really need to get a magic wand because you won't really be casting spells. I'm very aware now of, are there times when I don't want to be getting the magic wand? But I feel like with Spirit Breaker, it's very reasonable to always get it because I'm going to be just charging in on people so often. Just having the urn and the wand.
I think you could also, if you really wanted to, you could shave off the full magic wand and just go magic stick. Spend 200 for the stick, you only get 10 charges, you don't get the stats, but you save like 265 gold, which would be a faster urn or a faster Shadowblade or something.
Yeah, I really like urn a lot.
So if you're doing really well, maybe just get a faster Shadowblade, for example, or get a faster urn. What is this one about? I really liked how you started this gank. This was basically the way that you should be playing Spirit Breaker is get 6 and then get shit done whenever your ult is off cooldown. It's actually very similar to what you should do on Nyx. Get 6, use your ult to kill somebody. And that's one of the cool things about Spirit Breaker is that like you have a lot of damage and you have a lot of control. You know that if you charge into somebody, you're going to get your ult off if you have like 2 points in charge and they get stunned for long enough.
Yeah.
But okay, but you need more damage, right? You can't just solo kill people unless it's like a really squishy hero and they don't have a disable. There's very few heroes that you can kill no matter what, right? So basically, by the time you hit 6, you need to start charging places where there's allies kind of nearby, or you combo kills. That's why I liked what you did so much in this clip, because you TP'd to the bot lane, and then you instantly charged the Luna in the safe lane, who was near where the Jug was. Because all it took was like an extra 300 damage, and you've got a kill. So that was really solid. I like that you did that.
I think the thing that's... I'll just note that I feel a lot of comfort with Spirit Breaker with ganking compared to Nyx, because I feel like it's easier for me to set up.
Easily.
Because, you know, there can be someone who's like hell, even like 10,000 units away, and I'm 10,000 units away, and I ping him, and we both start to move, and then I can charge from cross map and get there. You know, like you can just be so far away.
You can press. You could play Spirit Breaker with one hand easily. It's not even a question. Click, charge, click on somebody.
I could nurture the cat while we're doing it, man. It's great.
You very easily could. Might have some earn problems, but yeah, this is the period where you had the bracer, and I was feeling like, maybe you could have had a faster claymore or something. You never really know.
Yeah.
I don't remember what actually happened in this fight. Nothing really that fancy. Your ulti was fine. Oh yeah, something you were doing a lot. You were always using your passive before you charged. Do you know what the negatives of using that
are? The passives.
The one in the middle, the empowering haste.
Yeah, but when you say, I try to use it before I collide with them, or just because it'll deal more damage.
Okay. Do you know how the damage for your bash is calculated?
I don't know the specifics of the calculation, but it's like you get plus some % move speed as damage. Yeah, so it's plus 22, 30, 38, and 46 move speed as damage.
So whatever your movement speed is, it does that much in damage magic, of course. So yeah, using your empowering haste gives you a speed boost for 6 seconds, but the 6 seconds afterwards, it makes your regular passive half as good. So in times like these, where you're doing a quick in and out gank, it's totally fine to use it. But there was a lot, basically almost every single time you charged in, you would use it. And I would argue that sometimes that's dangerous or a mistake.
I think I miss. Oh, the passive bonus will be halved while the ability is on cooldown.
Yeah.
Ah.
So basically, you take half of your movement speed, and you get to use it for 6 seconds, and then you lose that bonus for 6 afterwards. And then after that, the skill comes on off cooldown again, and then you're normal. So just a small thing to point out. It's good that you're using it, absolutely. But you might want to use it sometimes less if there's a huge team fight, for example.
Yeah, I did not know it halved it. I mean, it literally says it right here, but
yeah, it's fine. You miss stuff sometimes. I really liked how you played this fight. This is actually an earlier clip than the last one we just looked at. This would have been a great time to use Urn at the start of this, just because you have been chasing him the whole time.
Yeah.
He probably would have been dead about here actually, maybe even without the fissure. So
I also checked, and you can Urn while charging.
Okay, that's cool. You did just use Urn on your ally. Do you know what disables Urn?
What disables Urn?
If you use an Urn on yourself, what's one way for your enemies to stop the Urn from going through? I taught you one earlier today.
I mean, Diffusal Blade, I guess.
Okay, a Dispel would work. Or they can just do player-based damage. You can't Urn somebody while they're taking player-based damage. And you did this literally all game.
What's player-based? Oh, you mean like if any hero attacks?
Damage that came from a hero source. Or a player source. I don't know if those summons would break it, but...
Man.
Like, you did it all the time. You did it right here. You earned the...
Yeah, no, 100%.
Right there.
For whatever reason, I was convinced that it healed through that.
That would be the most OP shit ever if it did. Because it
totally thought it was the most OP shit ever, man.
100% it's a really good item, but it doesn't do that much. That would be actually insane.
Well, that actually makes sense then as to why I should always be using it at the start of a fight, because I can't use it in the fight.
Yeah, and times like these, you used it and it was fine because tower damage doesn't interrupt it. But you should certainly just be like throwing those charges out. As many heroes are dying, like there's been 30 deaths by 14 minutes. You should be just like earning the crap out of people all the time. This would have been a great time to have one offensively. Actually, you just use it on yourself.
Yeah, no, I was like, I should have earned him.
Yeah,
like I said this like twice then. Yeah.
That was good though. See right there. Watch. Oh, no more Urn. Did you see that? The buff went away?
I did. That's amazing to me. That is an incredible thing to see.
I would have liked you to charge the Luna here instead of the axe. I think you should be looking around a little bit more with your eyes during fights. Like at this part especially, you just like you're like, oh, fight's over, get out. But in the meantime, like maybe you could have stood kind of close and earned the Luna, for example, or been close enough that the Jug got the movement speed from your passive or from your aura. That way he could actually like escape or maybe get a kill. Like little things like that make a big difference. This one I thought this moment was pretty significant too, against the Meepo. Do you remember this one?
Vaguely.
You basically got ganked, and while you were farming the mid lane, and you didn't react correctly. So some mechanics things. You get netted by Meepo, right?
Right.
It lasts for 2 seconds. You basically can't walk. I don't know if you can charge out of it. Actually, I'm not sure. That kind of ruins
I don't think you
point.
can charge, but I believe that I dashed out, or did my ult out of it.
Yeah, looks like that works. I was actually going to say that you should have charged instead, because then it would do AoE stun. But it looks like you just honestly didn't have the opportunity. I don't remember if it stops it or not, but...
I'm nearly certain I earned myself in the middle of that.
Oh, yeah. You did that, yeah. You did that a lot this game, that's for sure. So things like that are really good.
So
and here's a great example of you doing magic damage. So you charged into him, you bashed him, here comes your ulti. This is supposed to do 350 magic damage and a bash guaranteed. As you can see, this is your auto attack right here.
Yeah.
No damage, so it doesn't go through magic immunity. The stun does, which is cool, but it doesn't actually do the extra damage. So. But other than that, the game was honestly very good. I think you used Shadow Blade well. Your item transition was good. I think BKB was absolutely the right choice. Stops Meepo nets. Axe can still call through your BKB, if you didn't know, since it goes through BKB. But because basically he's just saying attack me, and you automatically issue an attack command on him is how it works. So it doesn't matter if you're magic immune is the way that it works. Yeah. So yeah, we can hop into the next segment now. So this one instead, you were actually solo here. You did die first blood, but I don't think it's too worth to talk about. How did you feel like this laning stage went?
I felt very happy with it. I was I felt, well, I guess happy is maybe the wrong word, but I felt comfortable the entire time in the laning phase. I felt like I didn't quite pull creeps to my side as much, but I was trying to trade without screwing myself over. There's no disable on Anti-Mage, and Jakiro only has his big-ass animation lay down.
Yeah. You did a
Stun.
pretty decent job trading. I think it could have been a bit better. One thing you kind of completely forewent was any mana usage. You basically just almost never casted your spell. So yeah, you do right-click better, and you have a poor man's shield, but I think you can integrate those with your trading. Like right here, I would honestly just consider stunning him. Hit him, stun him, hit him. And then all of a sudden, you get an extra hit or two. You probably get about 2 extra hits in, and you would do magic damage. And because he's level 1, he probably doesn't have his passive, so you'd actually do as much as you would do to a normal hero with your nuke. So... And,
which passive are you referring to?
Anti-Mage's third passive gives him magic resistance.
Okay.
I believe 26% first skill point, so it's basically like a hood almost.
Yeah.
So you can integrate your spells into your lane. I think it's worth doing. And either way, I maybe would have pressured the Jakiro a bit more. I don't know how much regen he had, but he was pretty much low HP the whole time just because of what happened at level 1. Like, moments like these, I like that you denied the range creep, but sometimes moments like that, just go over and hit him instead. Like, this would have been another great time to use your stun, because you could have hit him with it, and the creeps, and then the creeps nor Jakiro could hit you for like a second, and you would get even more advantage there.
I think I have habitized being very cautious about spell usage in lane, and that was before I learned, or before we had the trading episode. So just I habitually was low on mana when I was first playing Nyx Assassin, because I was like throwing down mana burns, and I was like trying to stun, and the ganks would fail, and then all of a sudden I'd have no mana, and I'd feel like I can't do anything. So maybe I should actually just spend some more mana more frequently, and because, I mean, I have 2 mangoes, which I literally never used all game.
You know what the bigger thing was? This little guy right here. You know what that is?
No, I have no idea.
That's Crystal Maiden's mana aura.
Okay. No, I did know about the mana aura.
She's giving you 1 mana per second right now with her aura at level 1, which is an actual shitload. So basically, you can, if your mana's full, you need to use a spell if you have a CM on your team. And certainly, if you're trying to exploit trading and you know that this Jakiro doesn't have very much regen, which is kind of what it seemed like, just hit him, nuke him, hit him. And same with the Anti-Mage. Now it's kind of scary for you to trade, because if you trade with the Anti-Mage, you do lose mana. You should have gone both these last hits, by the way. But definitely at level 1, feel free to trade like crazy with these two. And because worst case, you run to your fountain, and it's right here, or your shrine. It's a lot closer than theirs is. Theirs is all the way over here. So if you do get a lot of trading at level 1, you can at least go to your shrine better.
Yeah, I have not considered the incorporation of the shrine into the offlane play. So
okay, it's good to just lose a lot of health, do a lot of trading, use your spells while trading, and then if you're low on HP and mana, hit up the shrine. Might as well.
Yeah, I mean, this game, I said this a lot. Like, I got a bottle this game, and I never needed it. Like, I just had so much mana. Jesus, I had so much mana.
Basically just because you had a CM.
Yeah.
If you had played the game and you didn't have a CM, it would have been way different.
Yeah.
You might have actually needed it. And I thought it was okay that you bought the bottle, personally. I didn't think it was too bad. What about your skill build, though? You got 1-1-1 here. Talk to me about it.
Yeah, I went 1-1-1 and just regretted it, because, I mean, I think that 2-1-1 is fine to get to, but I don't feel like I actually needed or wanted the mana burn at any point. I think just using the stun and using it more early on is what I would prefer to do.
Yeah, and it'd make your trade better. You'd go up to 2 seconds of stun, and you do, 140 damage instead of 80, which is a pretty big advantage. And when you do use the skill, obviously, it'd be better, and it would make your mana go farther. So the mana burn, there were times where Nyx Assassins would do the skill build consistently, but ever since then, almost all pro Nyx Assassins will go 4-0-4-1. They will get 4 points in Spike Carapace before they get a single point in mana burn, usually.
Really?
And that's because Spike Carapace is really strong. Here, I actually have a clip of that. It's called Need More Carapace. So this is the time that you got ganked mid. You were sitting by creeps. There was a ward, by the way. You did see all of them. So this is primarily you not looking at the map, because they were coming straight at you. But as Storm initiates on you here, his stun ends, and you used your spiked Carapace. Actually, I want to get the exact moment here. Let's go back just a little bit. Okay, so stun ends, you use Spike Carapace. This guy gets stunned. This is the guy that dueled you, that killed you. If this just lasted longer, you wouldn't have gotten dueled, and you would have gone away. You might have also been able to just use your ult here. But Spike Carapace level 1, it only stuns for 0.6 seconds. Yes, it doesn't increase the damage, but it lowers the cooldown and increases the stun duration. So if you had 4 points in this right now, he would have been stunned for 2.4 seconds, which is a metric shitload. Like, it's actually so much. And it would have stunned the Jakiro for 2.4. And it would have stunned the Zoo or the Storm for 2.4. Like, you guaranteed get away, and you have 2.5 seconds to sit around and be like, hey, I wonder if I can land a 3-man stun now. You're actually on cooldown, but if you didn't, this would have been the easiest fight ever if you just had more points than Spike Carapace. So to play Nyx really well, what you should be doing, if it's hard to land your stun, is figure out a way that you can get them to do damage that you can purposely stand in so that you can stun them for 2.5 seconds. And this is like the best game for it. Jakiro's damage, all AoE. If he throws his ulti down, you can just walk into his ulti. Against a Bat Rider, it's fantastic. You just walk where a Bat Rider was. He stuns himself for 2 seconds, and then you stun him. And then your team just blows him up. Shrapnel's great. Storm, it works because he does AoE. There's so many heroes here that you can just easily guarantee stuns on. And that's what Nyx should be doing, is like focusing on making sure they're stunned a lot of the fight. But because that didn't happen and the duel goes through, you survive for quite a while, but eventually, you get blown up. So, and the whole thing would have been different if you just got Spike Carapace off, because the Kunkka might have landed a better boat, for example.
So 404, I don't think first of all, I've definitely never done it, but doesn't that reduce a lot of my potential to roam around and gank and kill people later in the game?
It certainly reduces some, and I would say at your MMR, I wouldn't recommend going 404. I would go 402 into 412 maybe. So I would get like 2 Spike Carapace early, and then in the mid game segment, I would get at least 1 of the mana burn. That way you can break Lincolns. That way you can maybe get kills. But most of the time in the early game, it's not doing much more than like 150 damage. So it's like a decent 1-point skill, but it does damage based on how much int they have, and they don't have that much int early anyways. It's actually pretty good this game. It's really good against Necro, against Jakiro, and against Storm. Especially against Storm, just because he needs mana so much. But certainly you don't get 4 points maxed out right away. It just, almost every time that you might try it, it just doesn't feel like it does that much. It only makes the nuke slightly better, and it lowers the cooldown. It's just not the best thing to do. Secret shot fight. Yep, I remember this one as well. So this was the one you fought the Jakiro. This is done decently well. I kind of wish that you had a little bit more Spike Carapace here, but I think you did it fairly well. So this is a greedy mistake. This is a decision that like a lot of Nyx Assassins have to make. Is it worth it for you to do your ulti damage? Because in this short period of time where he was about to get away, you chose to hit him first, when if you just stunned instead, he just dies probably.
I am terrible at judging that, because it feels like I'm chucking away so much damage.
You are, but it's more about setup. Again, Nyx is about disables more than anything else. Because you had a Shadow Fiend here. If you instead just threw the stun and stun the Storm, it might buy you enough time to get another mana burn off. It might buy Shadow Fiend time to do a double raise. That's like 650 magic damage. And he could maybe get a right click in the middle. And maybe CM could catch up and cast her spell. Because if she catches up and casts Frostbite, Storm can't even jump anyways. It just like solves all the problems. So like there's a lot of cases, and this is one of the reasons Nyx is a difficult hero, because you have to know when it is more important than anything else to get those disables. Like at your MMR, whenever other people play Nyx, how would you say, what items do they build?
At my MMR?
Yeah, at your MMR. Have you ever played against a Nyx Assassin? Like what items do they buy?
Almost never. I think maybe 2 or 3 times, and most of them just go for Dagons.
Exactly. And do you know why? Because it's fucking easy. You hit them with your ult.
Awesome.
You stun them. You use mana burn, and you Dagon, and people die. There's no coordination needed. You don't have to worry about like setting things up. You just do tons of damage. They don't have blink daggers, but it doesn't matter because nobody buys Dust or Sentries, so they're invulnerable anyways. Like that's why it works at that MMR. But once you play against slightly better players, you have to start going this like realistic build, like what you did, which was blink dagger into Aghanims, or just straight Aghanims, or whatever build you want to do.
Yeah. So the blink dagger I felt like was absolutely the correct choice. My win rate is always way higher when I go straight for the blink dagger. Although my fun is always way lower than if I went to dip for Dagon first. That's like the greatest item in the entire game.
Yeah, Dagon is a lot more fun, but it's just not as effective at so many things. Like you talked about during the stream, you said I want to get a blink because there's an anti-mage and he's highly mobile, and that's absolutely the right choice. It's really good against Storm, it's really good against Legion, it's good against anti-mage. Those heroes are usually going to be initiating themselves, so if you can initiate on them and then they blink away and you blink after them, for example, that's amazing. That can get you kills.
It
So,
was right after I got Blink that I had no clue what I should have been doing.
and what you should have been doing is consistently setting up kills for your allies. So doing things like moving around the map, going somewhere where you think you can kill somebody. It was kind of hard this game because Jakiro's a support, but he's a very high HP support, so he's difficult for magic nukers like Nyx to kill. But if you could go somewhere on the map with Crystal Maiden or Zeus or Shadow Fiend, literally you plus anybody else, very similar to Spirit Breaker really, go somewhere with somebody else and you got to kill every time. Because you have tons of damage. You have like, I would say you have a lot of damage, not a stupid amount, but you have a lot of damage and you have stupid amounts of disable. So you plus any damage hero is a kill.
Specifically, I was confused about what sort of itemization I should go for after the Blink Dagger.
Ags is good. The problem is that you died too much. So that's why you got it so late. And you didn't get enough ganks in the mid game successfully because you weren't roaming effectively and your teammates usually weren't there to back you up damage wise. So you just didn't really get that many kills. So you got some pressure. You're 6, 5, and 9 here at the 22-minute mark, but it wasn't like amazing. And by the end of the game, you died like 13 times or something, which makes a big difference.
It's just a shitload. Let me check. 15 times.
Yeah. So in this example here, we're late game here. This is 50 minutes. I saw people writing this in chat, and I really agreed with them. Your ultimate level 3, it lasts for 60 seconds, I think, and the cooldown is 50.
Yeah.
There is no reason to ever not be invis when you're late game Nyx Assassin. Ever.
Yeah.
Because now you're just walking around, people see you with wards. They might see you, like right here, you're actually just walking up to the anti-mage right now. The model was bugged because I had to reload the live thing, but like they just see you coming out. Oh, there's that Nyx Assassin.
Yeah.
If you're playing with Blink Dagger, you're doing the wrong thing here, big time. Because just being invis, you should be looking where your opponents are, finding them when they're at camps, setting up kills. You did that sometimes this game, but when you're playing Nyx, it never stops. That is your game. Like, because you're not gonna farm creeps. You farm. You have 65 last hits at 50. That's not weird for Nyx, but you got to get shit done, and you didn't really get shit done here.
Yeah.
Now tell me about your itemization here. Because you got an Aether Lens.
Yeah, I mean, so after I got the Aghanim Scepter, I literally felt very... I was not sure if the Aghanim Scepter was a good choice or not. I was considering something like a Ghost Scepter for Legion and Anti-Mage, but that didn't seem good because Necrophos has been shitting all over me all game long. So I just got the Aether Lens as a safe, I'm going to stay far away, because it's probably not the worst, maybe not the best, but it seems like it'll at least definitely do some effect.
I would say
it's positive.
Having a ranged advantage is only good if they don't have gap close. Because if you have a ranged advantage, but they can get on top of you easily, it doesn't matter if you have a ranged advantage. They will get on top of you. If it's a Slark, if it's an Anti-Mage, if it's a Legion, if it's a Storm. The only way it works in your favor is if you initiate on Legion and stop his Blink. But in terms of AM and Storm, those guys are always going to be on top of you. So you shouldn't look at this as staying away from them. You should look at this as maybe having detection so that the Shadowblade Necrophos gets punished, or you have a solution to them jumping on you. So Force Staff is usually your item in a lot of cases for Nyx Assassin late game, because then you can force yourself away if you get into some trouble. That's really good. Something you should have got probably was a Yule Scepter. Nope, not this one. It was basically this moment here in the jungle. The Storm jumps on you, he pulls you, and he orchids you. What do you do here?
Do you have a little bit before this fight happened?
No, I didn't.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Why? Yeah, but
basically you guys were kind of running
stuff,
around.
Yeah.
You were kind of running around and looking for allies, and I think the Storm jumped from the right, for context.
So I remember this moment because someone went, "Hey Nyx, you carry the gem of True Sight?" And I went, "Yeah, sure." And I looked and I thought, should I carry? Well, no, let me move this thing down. You can actually see in my inventory, I just moved this thing down. I actually think I was standing still for like 2 seconds.
Okay.
And then this happened and I wanted to die. Okay. And then they gave it to me. Then they killed me.
So you were standing still. You weren't paying attention. If you weren't paying attention, what were you going to do instead?
If I was like in this moment?
Yeah, let's say you weren't messing with your inventory. How are you going to stay alive here?
Well, in this case, I can't. But if I had Force Staff.
Or literally any other item, ideally. Yule Scepter. You could soft dispel the Orchid from you. You shouldn't buy a Manta Style, but that's an option too. But Force Staff, Yule Scepter, Ghost Scepter would all stop them from attacking you during this moment. But once they buy this like cheap, common 4,000 gold item, your hero is wrecked right now. And you should have looked at a Storm and been like, Storm buys Orchid, 95% of all games, I need to at some point have an Orchid solution, and you never did that. And this is exactly what your Aether Lens should have been. It should have been a Force or a Yule's. Probably a Yule's, but Force, maybe both. A lot of Nyxes will go for an item at some point that does that. They generally don't buy BKB just because they want it to be up more often, and you can use Yule's to set up your stun. Just same as you do on Lina, but mainly it's a defensive item. So your itemization at this point was not good. The blink first into Ags, completely fine. It should have been faster, but it was fine. But the next item absolutely had to be an Orchid solution, because as soon as the storm jumps on you, your hero's worthless.
How do I use Aghanim Scepter properly as Nyx Assassin?
I can show you that. Well, first I'm going to show you how not to do it properly, and then I will show you how to do it properly. So this is the, I believe your team ran in and just kind of like all died badly, which was, it was almost a good fight, kind of, but then it got real bad. And then it was just pretty much you against the world, and we can just kind of clarify why it wasn't very effective. So, number one, Element of Surprise was wasted as soon as you mana burn this guy. Then they know, okay, there's a Nyx Assassin somewhere. And they also have a gem, so they know where you are, right?
I was spam clicking on him. I was like, I don't have detection. I don't have detection. I was like so panicked.
You kind of did like everything out of order. And at this moment, you also could have blinked away. You needed to get away from them before you walked to the fountain. That would have been wise. Alright, and now look at these guys. Look at their HP. It's really low. They're all so low. So what you should do, blink, stun, kill somebody. This storm is dead right now. All you have to do is blink here, stun this way. You might get a triple stun, and then use mana drain on the storm. Storm dies. And then you could just press ulti afterwards and then run away. Or if you had a Force Staff, you could turn and force yourself and run away. Like, in and out. That's how you have to play heroes like Nyx Assassin, Slardar, Spirit Breaker a little bit. But jump in, land a crazy stun on 3 heroes, run away. Wait 10 seconds, do it again. Do it over and over again. That's how you should play Nyx. Also, you didn't really use your skills necessarily effectively, but we can hop in game, and I'll just do like a Nyx demo here to show you what you should be doing. Do you know how Spike Carapace works with your ultimate?
With my ultimate?
Yes. Do you know that it changes?
Wait, do you mean with my Aghanim Scepter?
Yes. I'm sorry. Yeah, with Aghanim Scepter. My bad.
Oh, no, I had no idea that it did that.
Okay, well, I'm going to show you how it works. So, here's our Nyx Assassin. We'll buy this. We'll get a Blink Dagger and take some free spells. I'll make a dummy target, and we will level up to max. Okay, and then I noticed you got health that game, by the way. Do you always get health on Nyx?
No, just literally misclicked it because I didn't know that pressing 1 did it. I was specifically trying to get Spell Amp.
I actually liked you getting health that game just because they had so many like nuking heroes that just kill you once they jump on you. Like Storm with an Orchid, you either survive or you don't if you don't have the item. Against a Necrophos, if he ultis you, he's probably going to kill you, but maybe with an extra 175 health you could survive. So I actually liked it. I think your agility choice, I'm always so tempted to grab Agi because I'm like, 25 to 10, easy, super easy, but in all reality, you probably needed the strength there. And this was the other one as well. I actually feel like you maybe got all 3 of the wrong, except for the health. You got all 3 of the wrong talents. Against a Necrophos, against a Storm Spirit, magic resistance is actually really good. Might have been better. At low levels, gold per minute is almost always superior, I feel. But if you're playing your hero very well, I think magic resistance could have been better in that moment, personally. Okay, so this is how you should be playing Nyx Burrow. First of all, either you sit in the burrow and you're just sitting this far away, like pinging people or whatever, and doing damage in this kind of way. Or what you can do is you can combo them together. So the way that Spike Carapace works is that if you're burrowed and you use Spike Carapace, not only does it reflect any damage done, just like it does normally, but it also does an AoE stun. Just automatically, just by turning it on. So in that last moment there, where they all clumped around you while you're burrowed, if you just press Spike Carapace, you would have stunned all of them for 2.4 seconds, just right off the bat.
Good lord.
So this is how the fight should be going when you're playing this build. If you're going to do a blink initiation, you blink in and stun and burrow strike, and by the time this is almost done, now I've just stunned them for, what is that, 5.2 seconds AoE? 5 seconds AoE. And that is a 10-second cooldown, basically, with Spike Carapace. And if you have a Force Staff, you can just combo it all together. Buy a Force Staff here, jump, stun, go down. I did both, and then go out. Wait 10 seconds. Oh, it's ready again? Okay, jump in.
This is so much more sophisticated than Bramboot's Dagon.
It is, but it's also so much better. Like it's so much
Can you
better.
hover over the E and show the range of the stun?
And this is all without Aether Lens, too.
Like, can you hover
That's
the
pretty
E?
good. The E? Oh, sure, yeah. It's a little bit lower.
I'm sorry, the wait.
I have different hotkeys. I use W-E-R-T.
Can you hover the spiked carapace so I can
Yes,
see the
sorry.
range on it?
It doesn't show. Let me see.
I will now investigate. Spiked carapace.
It's like this or something. It's a decent AoE. It's not bad. Here, let's test it. Watch. Got him. It's pretty big.
Fuck.
Okay, yeah, that's the limit. It's basically like right there.
It's 300. Huh.
Which is this is about the max range. So basically, this whole area just stunned.
God, that's insane.
You could like buy refresher orb on this hero, and do some like super crazy shit. If you really want it. You could actually just AoE stun for like... And then refresh, stun... Like it's 10 seconds of stun, like...
It's just a DIY Tidehunter, man.
Yeah, like, it's the amount of disable that Nyx has is insane. And honestly, in that last clip, you certainly could have... You certainly could have changed things, I think, in this one here.
You are dead. .mp4.
So with what I just showed you, let's just take a look at that. Oops. Right here.
Yeah, I mean that's
Stun.
every single.
Could have AoE spike Carapace.
Jeez.
And then you had another opportunity here to do that. Pretty much the same thing, very low. The only hard part is that if Legion Commander's not in it, he could use his strong dispel to remove the stun from somebody.
Yeah.
But even in a moment like this, you're prioritizing mana burn way too much. It's mostly about the stun. Because once you land the stun, you got a mana burn. So.
Yeah.
And you should basically think of Blink Dagger as removing where you're burrowed. That way you can get another Spike Carapace thing. Yeah. And certainly don't unburrow when shit's hitting the fan. Because then you take bonus damage. Did you know you take less damage in there?
Wait, I knew that I was sturdier underground, but I didn't know I took bonus damage while unburrowing.
No. You have it right. You take
Okay.
You take less damage when you're burrowed. And you also get HP and mana regen based on a percentage of your total.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
Yeah, so definitely a lot safer in the ground. Okay, so that's basically all the criticism that I have for you on that series. We can certainly do an in-game coaching right now. Do an offlane one, maybe clarify some trading stuff. Does that sound good?
Oh yeah, I want to nix it. Man. I'm gonna queue up right now.
Okay, sounds good.
Oh, if you could captain our glorious party.
That's a great idea. All right. Well, with that said, while we're looking for the game, we'll be right back and run a small break. Thanks for tuning in, everybody, and we'll see you in a second.
Yeah.